cue and present Mrs. Sidney Hughes. Clifton.
Wow. 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 Hi, my name is Sidney Clifton. I am a producer living in Los Angeles. My mother, Lucille Clifton, was Poet Laureate of Maryland for several years. Passed away in 2000. She won a National Book Award. She was a dear friend as much as she was my mother. She was a teacher, intuit. She was a mentor. She spoke the truth. She was a truth teller in her poetry. And her telling the truth informs me as a mother of four. My husband and I have 4 children. We do the same thing as Ms. Warden. Our oldest is 31, our baby is 7. And there's 2 in between. But I believe that as watching my mother as a poet, watching her maneuver through her journey, tell the truth, however painful, share some of her painful secrets. She was molested by her father when she was between the ages of 7 and 12. I found out about this when I was 17. And while she was not incarcerated physically, she was imprisoned by that secret for the longest time. And when she was finally able to tell the truth, it freed her in a way. It also allowed me and my 5 siblings to learn how to face that kind of truth with courage. And courage was her driving force, I believe. And poetry was what set her free. So I wanted to share some of her poems that illustrate the arc of her as a daughter, because her mother also wrote poetry, but because my grandfather was the kind of person he was in those times, my grandfather told her that no wife of his was going to be a poet, so she burned the poems. And my mother witnessed this. So I will take you through sort of her journey as a daughter, observing this abdication of her mother's power and voice, and then coming through her journey as a mother, and then allowing us as daughters to move forward, walk our walk with integrity. So the first poem is called Fury for Mama. Remember this. She is standing by the furnace. The coals glisten like rubies. Her hand is crying. Her hand is clutching a sheaf of papers, poems. She gives them up. They burn jewels into jewels. Her eyes are animals. Each hank of her hair is a serpent's obedient life. She will never recover. Remember, there is nothing you will not bear for this woman's sake. She was a child. She was paying attention, as they do. And our children pay attention to who we are, even more than what we say. The next poem is called February 13th, 1980. My mother's mother died February 1959, a month before I was born. February 13th, a month before I was born. This is a poem about my mother's celebration of that death 21 years afterward. 21 years of my life, you have been the lost color in my eye, my secret blindness. All my seeings turned gray with your going. Mother, I have worn your name like a shield. It has torn but protected me all these years. Now even your absence comes of age. I put on a dress called woman for this day, but I am not grown away from you, whatever I say. My mother also encouraged, because she was a truth teller and because she was brave, connections, finding connections with anyone who you meet, and particularly nurturing those connections with her children. There are 6 of us, and we were all very different people. And I was her firstborn, and we did have one similarity, and this is a poem about that. I was born with 12 fingers, like my mother and my daughter. Each of us born wearing strange black gloves, extra baby fingers hanging over the sides of our cribs and dipping into the milk. Somebody was afraid we would learn to cast spells, and our wonders were cut off, but they didn't understand the powerful memories of ghosts. Now, we take what we want with invisible fingers, and we connect my dead mother, my live daughter, and me through our terrible, shadowy hands. I love that one. And then there are those moments where my mom would just have moments of dismay, and very often around my brothers and their foibles and the stumbles. They got up, but sometimes it was difficult for her. And she once started thinking about what lesson could she give my brothers that would give them a sense of being responsible and thinking ahead and and being prepared for things. And this poem is about that. It's called Wishes for Sons. I wish them cramps. I wish them a strange town and the last tampon. I wish them no 7-Eleven. I wish them 1 week early and wearing a white skirt. I wish them 1 week late. Later, I wish them hot flashes and clots like you wouldn't believe. Let the flashes come when they meet someone special. Let the clots come when they want to. Let them think they have accepted arrogance in the universe, then bring them to gynecologists, not unlike themselves. And then, as my siblings and I, my sisters and I particularly, were growing up, it becomes clear at a certain point that your daughters and your children, but your daughters, if you're a mother, she's not you. She's not a small you. And sometimes that's perplexing. And it can be emotional and confusing, but I think that, again, with facing the honesty of that and preparing her as a parent, or any child as a parent, to walk the walk her way, to prepare her way, is important. And we have to do that putting our egos to the side, because it's not our job, again, to be their friends. It's our job to be their parents. That's right. This is called Grown Daughter. Someone is helping me with onions who peels in the opposite direction, without tears, and promises different soup. I sit with her, watching her, learning to love her, but who is she? Who is she? Who? And I still struggle with that one, as my husband can tell you. What? She's 12. Huh? What? Really? And although my experience and my mother's experience is not directly in line with the reason we are here today, I believe the idea of courage and authenticity and honesty and support and love and integrity is resonant throughout. It's the same message that we must carry. So I'll leave you with this poem, which is what I hope I'm able to do with my daughters when they come of this age. It's called Last Note to My Girls, for Sid, Rika, Gilly, and Mean. My girls, my almost me, mellowed in a brown bag, held tight and straining at the top like a good lunch, until the bag turned weak and wet and burst in our honeymoon rooms. We wiped the mess and dressed you in our name, and here you are. My girls, 40 quick fingers reaching for the door. I command you to be good runners, to go with grace, go well in the dark, make for high ground, my dearest girls, my more than me.